Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Let's talk about the patch. So the patch is live and it brought us some surprises, in particular the 2S38, and this machine is causing some hurt feelings already. I wasn't expecting this at all. Gaijin kind of threw it in at the last minute, but holy crap, this vehicle is fun. So what is the 2S38, you ask? It is a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. I know in the game it's listed as a light tank, and it does excel in that role, but it was originally conceived as a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. But I want to talk about some highlights real quick about this vehicle before I give my opinion on it, because I know a lot of videos have been made on it already. So this self-propelled anti-aircraft gun, it's supposed to be effective against drones, helicopters, planes, light vehicles, and as you've seen and probably other footage already, it's highly effective against tanks, especially from the side. It's based on the BMP-3 chassis, and it has an unmanned turret on all three of the crew members sit in the hull. The star of the show on this vehicle is its 57mm gun. So this kind of chunky 57mm gun is fully stabilized, and you get a thermal sight, really good crisp thermal sights by the way. But you also have three amazing rounds to use. You have the BR-281 APCBC with 151mm of pen. You also have a Dart, an APFSDS, the 3U BM22, which gives you 225mm of pen. And of course, all those penetration values are at 10 meters and 0 degrees angle of attack. But you also get an amazing proximity shell to shoot down aircraft and helicopters. But what multiplies the effectiveness of your anti-aircraft shell is the fact that you have a passive acquisition system that uses infrared search and track. You know, it's for air vehicles only, so you can't lock on the ground vehicles at all, but you can lock on to helicopters, drones, and planes, and it's totally passive, so they have no indication that they're being engaged, and it really works out in your favor. Now this passive acquisition mechanic is pretty nice on this vehicle, but it wasn't the only one to get it. The M3A2 Bradley got it, the BMP-2M got it, and also the BMD-4 got it, I believe. There may be other vehicles that got the mechanic that I'm not aware of though. So I know, sounds overpowered as hell so far. I'll get to some of the down points of it. But as far as fun factor, I think the fun factor is high as hell on this. It's probably one of the most fun vehicles I've played in the Russian tech tree in quite a while. The issue with it though is it probably should not have been a GE premium. Probably shouldn't have been a premium at all. They should have just put it in the tech tree. But if it was going to be a premium, I would rather have them put it on the main website as a pack vehicle versus being a GE premium. Alright, so let's talk about some things that are not so fun about this vehicle. So right now, I anticipate this vehicle going up, but right now it's a 9.7 premium. So that also means that in this BR bracket, there'll be people that have the terms. There'll also be people that have the SU-25. So you kind of know where I'm going here. There is a high potential that you'll be playing with players that just don't have that much experience in the game. You know, and that's sadly the way the cookie crumbles. That's just how it's going to be. It'll be a little bit tough for a little bit, but once the novelty of the 2S38 wears off, we should get back to normal. But of course, the Russian tech tree isn't the only one that suffers from this phenomenon. I mean, you can buy yourself to top tier in lots of different tech trees. Alright, so here are some other not so fun factors. The vehicle is kind of slow. You don't have any armor, but the damage model on this vehicle is a little bit weird. I've been surviving shots that I don't think I had any business surviving. Maybe it'll get addressed later, maybe not. And another thing is the enemies are already starting to know how to kill you very fast. I mean, don't shoot at the turret. They know that now. Just shoot at the front of the vehicle. You'll kill all three crew members. Another thing about this vehicle is you don't have any missiles. You don't have any surface air missiles, and you shouldn't because it's an anti-air vehicle, but you don't have any ATGMs either. All you have is your gun. So that's a little bit like, oh well. The trigger happy style probably isn't a good idea with this. You will run out of ammo very quickly, and you only have 20 rounds in the first stage ammo, like little carousel thing you have there. So go easy on the ammo. All right, so kind of wrapping it up here on my thoughts. Lots of people been calling this vehicle OP out of the gate, but I don't really want to jump on that bandwagon. But don't get it twisted though. I think this vehicle is quite strong for 9.7, and I anticipate that it will be going up. Maybe 10.0, 10.3, who knows, but it will be going up. I do think though at 9.7, Russia needed something to bridge the gap after the ZSU 23.4, you know, the Shilka. That's at 8.0, because there really wasn't anything there. So when I use this vehicle, I put it right in my SPA slot in my lineups. Because at least in my opinion, I don't think it was really fair that you had the ZSU 23-4 at 8.0, and then you had to wait all the way till the Tunguska at BR 11.0 before you had another viable, SPAA. So I'm glad they finally plugged the gap, even if this thing is excelling more as a light tank than an actual SPAA. But this vehicle is not without contemporaries. It kind of reminds me of the LV KV 9040C in the fact that, you know, it has its dual role, and it can, you know, aptly handle aircraft, helicopters, and light vehicles, and maybe even some tanks. It kind of, you know, gives sort of those Big Light 57 vibes as well, except for, you know, the whole ATGM thing kind of makes it very different. So they do have some trade-offs, and each one of these vehicles is very unique. And of course the LV KV 9040C has a radar, whereas you don't have one with this vehicle. But overall, I think that at 9.7, it being able to go and see vehicles all the way down to 8.7, I think it's a little bit too much. And like I said before, I think Gaijin is going to raise the BR on this vehicle, maybe to 10.0, maybe to 10.3. So this is not a full review, but is it worth it? Considering that in its state, it's very strong, and Gaijin is probably going to raise the BR, I would say it's still worth it though, because I think this vehicle can handle itself at a higher BR. But that's assuming that Gaijin doesn't do something like nerf the ammunition and raise the BR. You know, of course, that would be tragic if they did something like that. But is it worth it right now? In its current form, I would say yes. And, you know, it's not a pack vehicle. That kind of bugs me a little bit. It's going to cost you 9,000 GE. But if you're going to spend money on the game anyway, you might as well spend it on something good. And I think you're really going to like this, especially if you run Russian lineups. Alright, thanks guys. I appreciate you checking out the video. If you like this, hit that like button. It really helps me out. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And I'll see you all in a future video. Thank you.